Our guest today on Unite Planet is Leak Project's very own Rex Bear. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. And thank you for watching. Well, just basically talk about yourself, Rex, and how Leak Project came to be, and just all that kind of thing. Really, it's just interested about your background, and yeah, anything you want to discuss, really, pal.
Well, it depends on what comment you read on the internet, because I am either a cloned Jesuit reptilian shill from a search engine, a search engine conglomerate, or that just happened too, by the way. It was just last year when I went to Chicago. Somebody said, Rex, you've never been the same. You came out, they cloned you. I knew it. And I've also, so I've been coined many things on the web, but I'm actually just a conspiracy scientist in my garage, and this is a passion of mine. And before I got into Leak Project, I was working for a Fortune 100 company, and it was kind of a sales customer service thing. Before that, I had anywhere from I was counting up the amount of jobs I can remember having, because there was a lot of times I would work literally for a day. Like, I'll give you an example. I worked at a movie theater for a day. It sucked. I worked at Red Lobster for a weekend. It sucked. You know, stuff like that. And I just went going from here to here to here. And I was really good at selling myself to get a job. And then I was like, oh, this sucks. Mm-hmm. And so I really started to get into more of a routine at about 25. And then I could hold down a job for anywhere from 6 months to a year, you know, and then after that, I started working for a Fortune 100 company, or it got merged into a Fortune 100 company about when I was, 28. I was in my late 20s, and I started a job working in, like, it's like the Formula One of sales. And I'm just this rookie, and I thought I was always as good as it got. You know, I got all these trophies for jobs doing boat sales and every, you know, phone book sales, you name it, man. So it just I didn't have a passion for it. You know what I mean? And so when I was working these jobs, I was talking about what I talked about on Leak Project. And so finally I got an opportunity to work for a good company. And I started watching these people that were just so advanced at their craft, you know, and people would come in for a free gift, and they would leave with a $15,000 timeshare that they didn't even really know how it worked. And they're like, what did we just do? And I'm watching these people do it, and I'm just like, wow, look at the power of the mind. And I thought to myself, if I want to last here, and they were rolling through people left and right. I mean, the turnover rate there was probably 90%, because they were looking for the best of the best. And they kind of had a core group of people. And so I'm young, I'm excited. I see these people wearing $1,000 shoes, driving $80,000 sports cars. And I'm like, you know, I'm gonna be able to do that. So I started to really just watch them. And then I got into mind over matter. And then I started to research hypnosis, and I started to research magic and the Kabbalah. And I started to do like subliminal programming on myself. And I was learning the tricks of what people do on us every day.
Right.
Whether it's whether it's a politician, whether it's a CEO for a corporation, or somebody that has a very good influential charisma and gets people to follow. I was like, oh, that's what they're doing. That's how they're getting us every time. And so it was almost like a defense thing that I wanted to learn how to protect myself as well. And I'm like, well, if they're going to use it to sell timeshare, why don't we use this to help people? Like, why don't we use this to understand people and bring each other together? because just as any skill or any technique, you can use it to help or you can use it to cause harm. You can use it for your own agenda. And if your own agenda is helping others, then that's a pretty good agenda. But if your agenda is to make money and just, doesn't matter if you hurt people along the way. I mean, you look at some of these people that rule the world and you have to ask yourself, like, how did they get there?
Mm-hmm.
They're willing to stomp on just about anything to get there. And I don't work that way. I was never, so I did this timeshare sales for a while. And I was almost using it as like, just to, okay, let's see if I can influence people. And I started this like conversational hypnosis thing for a while. And this one guy was really good or is really good at instant hypnosis, where he'll get you confused and he'll start throwing in all these subliminal tactics along the way. And his name's Darren Brown. You can probably see him on TV.
Yeah.
And I watched him get people's wallets. He'd walk into a store and first, here's an example. There's somebody outside, there's a bunch of people around, thousands of people group, in public, and there's somebody that he sees, and somehow he knows that person is easy to confuse. So he'll walk up to that person, be like, "Hi, my name's Darren. I'm looking for directions. I got lost. Someone just dropped me off here. I'm wondering do I go left or do I go right, or is it right to go right, or should I go left? I mean, I don't know where can I see your wallet real quick? Thanks. And can I see your phone? Oh, okay, thanks. So I just take a left there, right? Is that what I do?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, thanks." And he'll walk off. And these people will be like scratching their heads and they'll be like, "What just happened?" Like they really don't even know what just happened. And then, a minute later, he'll come back and he'll give them the wallet, stuff like that. They're like, "Oh man." But he'd walk into stores, jewelry stores, and he'd give them like blank pieces of paper as money. Mm-hmm. They'd take it, give him the jewelry. He'd walk out of the store. And then they'd figure, 10 seconds later, they'd figure it out. And it was just funny, right? I thought, man, this is really fun. And so I started to kind of, when people would come in and talk to me, I'd be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Oh yeah, you want to drink a soda right over here? Okay, here's your soda pop. Yeah, okay, let me see your wallet real quick." And there were times that I'd literally do the same thing. And then I would give it back to them and I'd just play around at the end of the presentation. And they kind of got a kick out of it, right? So I was doing it more for just kind of having fun and learning the tricks of the trade. And I was making a decent living, I mean, I was doing okay, but I was looking at these guys they were just making incredible money. And I was kind of the middle of the pack. So I did good enough to stay there and not get fired. I did good enough to where, let's say, "Good job, Rex," give you a pat on the back once in a while. But I wasn't doing what some of these other people were doing. And I think it's just because some of these people will say the best salespeople in the world can be 100% legit. But then you've got those out there that will say anything to make the sell. And I just don't have that. I can't do that. I gotta, okay, this is what you're going to get. Yes, your maintenance fees are good. And actually from then till now, I mean, there's no way you could get me going back to selling timeshare because I just wouldn't do it. And actually I went from a position of doing timeshare to what's called discoveries. So I was just selling trial packages, which was actually great because by the end, they would talk to somebody else for 3 hours. They're trying to get out of there. And then finally, they're, "Okay, well, we're not going to buy anything today. Okay, well, we'll get you out of here. We'll get you a gift." And so I'd be the last person to check them out. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm just going to do a customer service survey." And be like, "Okay, hey, here, I'm going to do a customer service survey." I do the survey. And then I'd be like, "Do you want to try it?" Mm-hmm. It's about the same price as a hotel. And by that time, they're like, "Yeah, just get me out of here." Or, "No, I don't want it." And I'd be like, "Okay." So it's real easy. Just bang, bang, have a wonderful day. This is what you get. Super easy. But those guys would spend hours. And if you've ever been to a timeshare presentation, man, oh my goodness. They're like, "Come in, we'll give you a free gift. You'll get a free stay." You've only got to stay for 90 minutes. And then 6 hours later, half these people are like, "Oh my gosh, man, I got to get out of here. My vacation's over. My family hates me now." They go stay at the hotel. It's a piece of shit. They're like, the whole experience sucks. And have you ever been to a timeshare presentation?
Yes.
Don't tell me you want to. You're like, "Dude, I own a timeshare. I can't sell it."
No, I don't want timeshares anyway. No, it was in Tenerife. It was terrible.
So many people can't even get rid of their timeshares. They're like, "Well, I own it and I want to give it to you." And they're like, "I don't want it because you have to pay maintenance fees on it the rest of your life." So it kind of sucks. But my point is, I went and I learned from some of the best people, some of the best salespeople in the world. And most of the people that I was working with, they're legit. There was a few people there that they were kind of snaky. You know what I mean? So I had a great experience learning how corporate lifestyle is, how people are at the top of cells. And then I also was able to take that experience and see, ever since I was a kid, man, I've known the media has lied to us. I mean, I was born to see the lies that they feed us. And that experience just took it to the next level. It gave me an opportunity to really expand my mind, to break out. Because at that point, when I started working there, I was Christian. You know, I would read the Bible. I've read the Bible from cover to cover. I've studied multiple books in the Bible, and I love the Bible. I think it's fascinating, one of the most fascinating compilations of books in the world. But it doesn't, if you look at it like per verbatim, first of all, you're probably going to lose your mind. You're probably going to go crazy. But if you think that these characters and these people in the stories oftentimes were doing exactly what the outline says they were, like there's a part in the Bible that still messes with me, where somebody says Jesus is good, and Jesus says nobody's good but the Father. And then, I mean, you got to question that. Like, really? Nobody's good? So we're all bad? And the only thing good is, but did he mean it that way? Or did he even say that? Or why was it translated? What's the original root meaning of that? So it's a very powerful book, you know, but when I went into that position, Jesus is it, man. Jesus is our Savior. And I pray to Jesus every night. I got it all figured out. And I had this out of body experience at that time. And I had it as I was going to sleep. So I'm going to sleep and I pop out of my body. Freaks me out, dude. Like I'm getting the chills now thinking about, I don't know if you can see like the hair freaking me out, but it was amazing. So I pop out of my body and everything looks the same, but it's more like shades of gray and blue. It's like darker colors. It's not as vibrant, but everything's the same. And I pop it out of my body and it just freaks me out. So I'm like, I'm going to get possessed or something, man. A demon's going to take me over. So I wake myself back up. I walk around, man, let's get emotional to think about it. And then I go back to sleep. I try to go back to sleep. And as I go back to sleep, I pop out of my body again. Scares me big time. Wake myself up. And then after that, I started to really think about it. And I met this guy named Isaac. And he was into magic and hermetics. And he gave me this book by David Icke called The Biggest Secret. And I read that book. And that just gave me a completely new reality. Just completely shattered my old paradigm of religion and Jesus, and those that are supposed to love us and care for us and protect us oftentimes could be doing the exact opposite. And if you've read that book, the sinister undertones of that book were just, man. And so that kind of took me on a journey. You know, it took me on a journey, and it made me realize that we are more than our physical bodies. It made me realize that we are more than what the Bible oftentimes perceives us to be, especially if you believe what somebody tells you need to believe at a church, or somebody that, a family member or a friend that's like, no, man, you're going to burn in hell if you don't pray to Jesus every freaking night. And Catholics, I love many Catholic people, wonderful people. I feel the fear factor that has been embedded in them. And it's powerful. Many religions, not just, whether it's Christianity, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're Jewish, I see many different beliefs have that fear factor that keeps you in the belief system. Oh, well, you better believe this way, because if you don't, you're done. You're going to spend eternity in hell, and you're going to get burnt and tormented. And how about now versus 100 years ago, or 200 or 300 years ago? If we talked the way we do now, a few hundred years ago, and we weren't in a secret society hiding this information, you'd probably be taken out.
Oh yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
So I just went on this journey, man, and with all the experiences that I had and all the different jobs, because I've done everything from carpentry to sales and everything in between. It just gave me this mindset of, okay, I can understand people better. I can resonate with somebody, because I've probably done what you are doing right now. I might have done that job before, or have a friend that does it. So it's been a great experience to do Leap Project, because you know what, man, I remember I got a warning from the district manager once. It wasn't really a warning. He said, Rex, you got to quit talking about this stuff. You're freaking people out. Wow. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was just hard for me not to talk about what I talked about on Leak Project in the lunchroom. But I was even more intense then, right? Like now I've kind of come to more of a balance. Then I was I would be more geared towards the conspiratorial side of things. And now I'm looking at every aspect possible so that I make sure I'm not a regurgitator, I'm not a repeater, but I'm a researcher.
Yeah.
And it usually makes me feel better because a lot of times I can see much better opportunities when I study these different genres that the mainstream doesn't pick up on. And you know what I've came to the conclusion recently? The mainstream news, even though it doesn't have the viewership that it used to have, like CNN maybe only gets 1 million views or has a million viewers, but how many people in the alternative media that might even get more views take the news that CNN says, puts their own spin on it, and says, oh, this is what's really going on. And oftentimes they're feeding the fire that the mainstream agenda is pushing out as the narrative, but it's the other layer of it's like a multi-layered cake or a multi-layered dip. And you've got the mainstream, you've got the alternative, but they're controlled by the same root. Yeah. And so I'm saying we need to take the 30-day challenge. No mainstream news for 30 days. No political news for 30 days. If you're getting on the alternative news platforms, do not research anything that's connected to the mainstream news as far as doom goes. Think about how these riots and protests have been, how do I put this? Fueled by the mainstream news showing clips over and over and over again of business owners trying to defend their business. Yeah, I mean, granted, some of these people it's pretty stupid to try and defend your business with the sword when you've got a bunch of people around you. I get that. Dude, he doesn't know what to do. He's freaking out. I mean, geez, let's say you're 70 years old or 65 years old and you got a bunch of protesters and rioters around you saying they're going to beat you up and burn your business down. And what are you going to do? I mean, you're like, oh, I don't have anything but a sword, man. I don't know what to do. So they almost kill that guy. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if he's alive, man. You see some of these people fall down like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
How is that a protest? How is that helping the cause?
Absolutely.
Who's that helping? Oh, I could tell you a guy that's helping, but we all know that MFer, that money funder. Yeah. What are his initials? Oh, you know who I'm talking about. The guy that loves to see chaos in American soil.
Yeah. GS even. Yeah.
Hello. So with that being said, I had an experience that I've shared before the first experience I can remember, or one of the first experiences I can remember was like something different. I was in my crib. I'm looking at these entities that are looking at me. And when I was older in life, I asked my folks if they were Return of the Jedi, if we had Return of the Jedi characters in my room that were life-size, or Star Wars figures that were life-size, and they were like insectoid looking. But that could have been a dream. I don't know. But for some reason, I've always been fascinated with what the media doesn't tell us, the other side of things, the forgotten, the secret, the lost, the forbidden, because we get the knowledge from the victors. We get the history, which is his story, from the victors. And usually we're watching it on the television, which is the Tell-I Vision. So we're getting his story from the Tell-I Vision, and it's brainwashing people so much that I'm at a point now where so 10 years ago, I'm more, look what's going on. Look there, here. I'm talking to people in the lunchroom. You're heating up genetically modified corn in plastic in a microwave, and you're looking at it with your forehead next to it while you're talking on your cell phone. That might not be the best idea. I'm talking about Fukushima, and I'm talking about how the media seems to have this uncanny ability to foresee the future because of all these parallels. I mean, just look at the Simpsons connections or how they predict the future. It's amazing. So the more research I've done, I've kind of gone through this curve where before I'm shouting out of the top of the rooftops, I'm not doing quite as much research, but I'm wanting to help people. And now I'm doing more research. I'm being more of like I'm attempting to balance things more and give people a way to find it for themselves. Because I don't want to preach. I want to give people their own decisions to break out of it, because for whatever reason, it bothers me to see society talk about themselves as a dilapidated zombie faction. I mean, most people, the way that the media presents you as what you are and what you're doing to society and what really matters, it's a dark spell that I see around the world. So I don't know if I just feel like I was put here to see it and then help people break out of it.
Yeah, makes sense to me. That's what I'm here for as well, to punch you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cheers to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Coffee. Cheers.
Nice. I have coffee here too. Coffee and super tea.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I get that, because I mean, as we had the chat before, I mean, my near-death experience was about helping people. I came back ready to help people, so I get it with you as well. So definitely, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So in regards to the future of Leap Project, what's your projects and wishes for the future at the moment?
Dude, super bright future. The future's so bright, I got to wear blue blocking shades because, man, actually, I've noticed, because I spend so much time on the computer, that if I don't wear these blue blockers, sometimes my eyes can start to hurt just from staring at the screen. But so we've got a new channel that was just opened. It's called Pandora's Box. So if you'd like to open Pandora's Box, make sure to subscribe to that. We're going to focus specifically on mythology, astrotheology, mysticism, ancient grimoires, forbidden knowledge, forgotten books, lost books of the Bible, etc. We're going to connect it all together, but we're going to focus on that. Leak Project, we've got several new platforms that we're expanding out to, and I am working on the forums section now. So anybody wants to, because we get these comments on YouTube that are pages long, and they're great and they're amazing, and I get emails that are pages long. So I want people to start putting all that information on the forums section, totally free. Put it on the forum section so then people can read that, and that'll have a much wider reach. And then I know people love to blog. I mean, I was an avid blogger 12 years ago when I was spending more time writing than talking, but I've figured out now I can do 10 podcasts in the amount of time I can write maybe 10 pages. I don't know about that, but I could do more usually with podcasts. But I need to take a breath here because I'm drinking the super tea and the coffee, and I'm pumped up here.
That's good.
There we go. All right, much better. So yeah, the forum section, we're working on that, and then we've got a blog news section that we're working on, and unfiltered, totally raw. We don't have to tiptoe around. We don't have to use code words and such on those platforms. So
that's good.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. And plus, pretty soon you'll be seeing me on the big screen. We've got applications in the process right now that you can upload on your phone, on your television, on your big screen. And we're going to start doing some tours. We're going to start, we're going to have some live streams going possibly 24/7. We're going to have a live chat on leakproject.com that's 24/7 where people can comment and then watch videos as well. We're going to have them live streamed. So over 3,000 podcasts on leakproject.com, and hundreds of those are exclusive to the platform. We're moving from, so YouTube, I love YouTube. I really love how it kind of started a new genre. I mean, it started a new way of life for many people with the opportunity to live stream and interact with people that you see on TV. And the algorithms, the search engine, it's as good as it gets. And it's unfortunate because certain topics, when you get passionate about things, can cause controversy. And I can clearly see how certain platforms don't want to have controversy because they've got, big advertisers and they probably don't want to get sued. So I can understand when there's times these giant corporations, because like I said, dude, I worked in the corporate lifestyle. I know what it's like, they don't want to get sued by somebody or by a big corporation as well. And so we need to really embrace that and say, okay, that's cool. We can find other options as well. We can multiply, we can diversify. So we can stay strong on YouTube. We can create a great presence and, keep it family friendly. And then if you want to go get into more intense subjects and topics, we can discuss that on other platforms that can be more exclusive. So that's the nice thing about the Patreon page. That's the nice thing about Leak Project is we can get into certain things that maybe might not be family friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And also, like, say, you've mentioned things like G5. Just, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Things can go wrong as well. Yeah. I mean, we've had issues with that as well. So,
Which is unfortunate, right? I mean,
mhm.
because shouldn't we as a species be able to talk about things and understand things? And when we've been fed lies by the mainstream for so many years, why should we believe them now? And why can they say, do what we say, but don't do what we do? Why can they perpetuate these riots? And why can they use neurolinguistic programming and conversational hypnosis to get people triggered to go out and do stupid things? It's almost like they put you under a spell, because that's what they're doing. They're literally putting you under a spell by the words that they're saying, by the spelling that they're giving you. So wake up or
Absolutely.
enjoy being controlled opposition.
Mm-hmm. TV programming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. It is.
Social conditioning turned in from TV programming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go back to Darren Brown. I don't know if you saw the one where Darren invited a guest, not a guest, a person from the audience at random. And he said, right, name a song, any song. But before you do, I want to write it down what the song is. So he writes down and puts it in an envelope. And he says, right, if I got it right, then the money on this table is mine. If not, all that money is yours to the person in the audience. And he said, okay, any song? He said, yeah, any song. So he said, and he told me what the song was. He opened up the envelope, and it was that song. And he said, by the way, it's not just random. And the screen comes down, and it shows him in hidden cameras follow through the whole day. He's in the waiting room. This song's been playing on. Gets to the bus. This song's been playing on, and it's basically, that song.
Oh, they're good at it. Yeah. And did you
Mm.
see the one where they had, I think it was in a mall, and there were these mannequins in the store displays that were precisely, they position these mannequins in the store displays to influence people's subconscious mind. And it was influencing these people that were walking past so much that one guy actually saw a homeless person or somebody that was begging, and he gave them his shoes, and it had something to do with the mannequin not wearing shoes. Did you see that?
I saw that. Yeah. I saw that. Amazing. And
Wow.
this is the one where it was apocalypse. A person thought it was going to be an apocalypse.
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh, I have to send you a link on that one, Rex. It's just amazing. It's
Okay.
very well done. A lot of actors involved, and yeah, basically the end of the world. And he
Okay.
survived it, and plus other 5 other people. Yeah, amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
tell me about your art behind you, because I can see all these beautiful pictures behind you.
Thanks. My friend Shallie Brady, she's a wonderful lady. She painted the majority of the art that I have up here. These are like 4 by 3 foot paintings. And I've
Mm-hmm.
got about 30 pieces from Brady. So
Wow.
I should put up some new ones. My favorite's the Bhava Chakra, or I call it
Mm-hmm.
the Wheel of Destiny, which is the one that's got H.R. Giger inspired Baphomet, which is actually the Yama, which overlooks the Wheel of Destiny, which is essentially different parts of life, different dimensions. And if you go back to ancient Hindu teachings, you can look up the Bhava Chakra,
Yeah.
and this is a modern version of that. It's all connected to karma and cause and effect. And you've got like the animal realm, the God realm, the human realm,
Yeah.
the wandering ghost realm, the hell realm. And in the human realm, that's the only way to escape the will. Even if you're in the Diva realm, which is like almost being like a god, you use up all your karma at a certain point. So then you get put back in the will.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in the human realm, there's ancient depictions as well. And you can see, I don't know if you can see in this one, but there's somebody out from the human realm that's astral projecting out of the will. And it's
Mm-hmm.
towards the sun. And then Thoth is pointing towards a star, which is close to the moon. But it seems as if this whole system that we're in right now, even at the solar system level, is meticulously, finely crafted and designed, from the rings of Saturn, the rings of Uranus, to the position of our moon. and the sun that we have now, the current star that's in our sky, our carbon atoms, it seems to all be kind of connected in the somatics formula to keep our bodies here and to keep this recycling program going on from a spark of divinity. And I think that it's interesting to think about what it's like outside of this will. I've thought about that. Is the matrix the will? Because I saw the Yama once. I believe I saw the Yama. I had an experience on Salvia Divinorum, and I attempted to go out of the body. I did it for a shamanic experience and felt like I went into hell, but I also felt like it was timeless. Like time didn't really exist, and I was stuck in eternity. And I remember I was on the floor when I did it. And when you do Salvia Divinorum, it only lasts for about a minute, but during that minute, you can't move. You can't do nothing. You're done. You're like, ah! And it scared me so bad. I'm on the floor and I'm screaming, dude. I'm like, ah, ah, and screaming at the top of my lungs. And when I finally get out of it, so what I visualized was I'm on the floor. I'm by myself on the floor. I'm in my room. And then all of a sudden, moments later, there's these other people that are next to me, and we're all kind of laying on the floor. We're all next to each other. And then the room gets bigger. And then there's the Yama, this giant entity. I didn't know it was the Yama at the time. I just remember looking at it, and it's like, look, it was just looking at me, and it didn't really, I'm like a bug to this thing, and it's huge, and it's kind of connected to all of us in a sense, and we're only allowed to move when whatever this thing is or something that's influencing this thing allows us to move. It's almost like you're in a stadium. Imagine being in a big stadium watching a ball game and some type of sporting event. And when they do the wave, well, it was kind of like that. And I was only able to move when it was my turn to do the wave. Okay. And when I came out of that experience, I mean, it still affects me, dude. I mean, it still spooks me out. It really makes me question what's on the other side. And with the research that I've done with the Nag Hammadi scripture, or what's on another side, not the other side. I think there's multitudes of sides that you can go into, but whatever that thing was, reminds me a lot of Yaldabaoth, the chief archon in the Nag Hammadi scriptures. Reminds me a lot of the Yama, and I don't know if we're in that. Yeah. If we're in its like trap, or if it's feeding off of us, and that's what the ancients were telling us. Very interesting.
Yeah. Do you think that's what's happening at the moment? I mean, with the current situation with the, what is happening all around the world? Do you think, because also we're in a bad energy now, well, a lot of people are, fear, death, there's a lot of people saying about death, and do you think it's about that, or what's your thoughts about it?
I think it's a big piece of it. I think that what we're dealing with right now is just people say we're going to win, we're going to win. And is there an end, or is it a infinite loop of cause and effect of opposites? So like the saying, no good deed goes unpunished. It's kind of a bittersweet saying there, because you want to help people. And then how many times have you done, you help somebody and like along the way, something happened, but that's who we are. And there's also the karma that's connected to that as well. So when you're helping others, you're as a human antenna and a divine spark of light inside of that human antenna connected to source, we are vibrating at certain levels of frequencies that will resonate with other frequencies, and we will start to kind of attract each other, those that think in similar fashions. And I've noticed that even more with the internet, because now we can talk to people from around the world that have similar mindsets. Before, you had to go to a coffee shop, and at the coffee shop, how many of those people, you're playing chess at the coffee shop, drinking a latte, drinking a coffee, how many are going to have the same thoughts that you do? It's going to be similar maybe, but you're at a small local area of a few people. Now we've got access to the whole world almost. And I think there's something out there, man. There's something out there that's using this digital platform as a way to usurp us all into a system like the Borg, I believe, that will then take it to a almost a galactic level. Now, that being said, this is very interesting. And I've thought about this for decades. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I thought about this. Do we go, so the New World Order agenda, the end up, to that we read about in the Bible. Let's just talk about that. And the typical New World Order agenda you hear about. I'm sure there's so many New World Order agendas. So we'll just pick one. One of the more popular ones is to have everything under essentially one umbrella, one government, one bank. There's even that, what was that movie that came out where there was just one restaurant? It's back, Judge Dredd or something. Okay, and the only restaurant in the world, there's one restaurant in the world. You know which one it was? Taco Bell.
Right.
I'd rather starve. The only restaurant, well, for a while anyway. I mean, if I got to eat that crap. But yeah, it's Toxic Hell is the only restaurant. But so the New World Order agenda to bring everything under this one system where everybody's tracked and chipped and this system of control of a block mind is, I've wondered before, is that to take people into a universal or a galactic, maybe not universal, but a galactic council of sorts of entities that have brought their entire species to a specific level, which is almost like a uniform consciousness. And then I've thought to myself, are they doing that now with not only these digital enterprises? Hey, come on the virtual web, man. You can plug in the VR headset. You can do anything you want. You can look the way you want. You can feel the way you want. So it's like, we'll offer you this, but what is the outcome? And are they going to transfer all of us into this silicone type system and then shoot us into space? I mean, what's up with all these satellites? Is it really for internet? Maybe. But are they attempting to find a way to transfer consciousness off of Earth, kind of like some of the pre-Egyptians were doing with these incredible megaliths, I believe, and stargates where they could meditate, and based upon the somatics and such, they could go into a certain part of space without actually having to even physically be there, and maybe download consciousness and information and power and bring it back, or travel and talk to others, talk to other beings from other parts of the galaxy without even having to build a ship, because you could do it with your mind connected with what you've built here, and the ley lines and the locations and the constellations, and depending on certain times of the day when the energies from certain places in the solar system and the universe will hit that specific spot, causing the reaction, like the megaliths. For example, Stonehenge. I think we had a breakthrough the other day when I had a great interview with the gal that studies these crop circles and the actual science behind it. And these megaliths, such as Stonehenge, these giant rocks will obtain vibrational frequencies, and then if you're in that specific megalith, if you're in the circle and these stars and certain energies from space are hitting these circles, and then maybe you could even have a specific chant or a sound from yourself, this would resonate, and the somatics could be used, in my opinion, possibly for healing, for raising your consciousness. When I say that, being able to think at a level where maybe past, present, and future simultaneously, maybe you can have out-of-body experiences. But that's what I believe they're for, is for a multitude of these higher level consciousness experiences. And then now people are like, well, they're amazing, they're great, but I don't think we understand the true meaning of the deeper meaning. Because if we did, we'd be duplicating it. And maybe some people are, and the news, thank goodness, didn't pick up on it, because they'd just lie about it, probably, if it was from the mainstream, in my opinion. But maybe there's labs out there that are working on this stuff right now, and we just don't know about it. I wouldn't be surprised.